Okay, we are going live. My wife is struggling, but here we are. Here we are. We are. Haha, we are live! Yay! Conversations with Gio and Myra.
Yes. Just a little late, but it's okay.
Yeah, that's fine. We
Yes.
have a different time zone. We like
Oh, okay.
no, like in general, like life. My life is a different time zone. No.
Okay, I'm seriously loving that fire feature, but take off the water bottle because it's like taking
this my water, but I can't be without my water. Okay.
From the drama, it's like whoa.
Yes, now it's the ambiance.
Yes,
and it'll be a little bit chilly, so I have my blanket, but I'm at Canyon Lake, Texas. So I'm in Texas for the next few days, and so it'll be it's fun. And I started this morning on Zoom, and I'm ending on Zoom. It's just there's a testimony in between there, but one day I'll be able to share all of that. Right now we're just going to see what happens, but I am excited that we get to talk. So I'm at your mercy. Let's talk.
I know. Well, we had a Thanksgiving break, and so let's just go ahead and just say thanks to everyone that has joined us, everyone that has come on here to support this. I feel like we're on late night show. Like, I'm not like Jimmy Fallon or anything, but I love you. I love
Jimmy. He's so funny.
So I love this time of the day. I love this just kind of wrapping up the day, but then my mind's more like, more on fire. So I've got a lot for you, Gio. I've got a lot going on, but thank you to all of those that are watching, and we missed you last week, but here we are. So God bless you. And so today's topic, Gio, is kind of scandalous. It's kind of actually kind of personal, but I think we can get personal here. I think that the ladies watching, I think they can handle, what we have for them, what the Lord has for them based on some of the things that we're going to talk about today. So today we're going to talk kind of like mom life, like hashtag mom life, right? Hashtag just, woman of God, ministry, like all these hats that we wear as women, right? But I want to know, the first thing that I want to know about you and about just in general is like, what is the most selfish thing that you have ever done? Like, I know you're a mom, wife, like, minister, everything. What is the most selfish thing that you have ever done?
The most selfish thing that I have ever done, I think today. I think there's a lot. There's a lot throughout my life, but I think that we correlate it with doing something. I don't know. Today I bought really nice earrings, and I felt guilty, and I felt like, oh my gosh, I don't want to spend earrings and shoes. I thought that was, a bit selfish. I just am, learning how to love myself in a different way. But anyway, no, so selfish. My gosh. I want to, because right now, my girls are grown. But I'm thinking like throughout, when they were growing up, the most selfish thing that, and it's this guilt, this is enormous guilt that we put on ourselves, that we don't want. Being a mom at a young age takes a lot of the selfishness away.
Okay. I get you.
Like when I see young moms, like I was a young mom at 20, I had Gianna, by 25, I had 3 kids. And I see, I'm in a house full of young ladies, all under the age of probably 27 or 28, and you know, most of them are not married or have children. So there's something that being being a mom does to you, that it kind of removes that, and because the world doesn't revolve around you. And I didn't have a problem spending on my kids. I had a problem spending on me. I didn't have a problem giving to my kids, making sure they looked wonderful, and I looked like a homeless person a lot of times. So so when I think about them growing up, the most selfish things I did, maybe it's my perspective. Maybe it was like at that moment, like I had to think about future me. I didn't think about future me. And it's not in a, again, I'm saying like the selfish thing that I did was not think about future me as their mom for them. Would I be someone that, you know, could help them 20, 30 years down the road? Like, what does that mom look like?
Wow.
And
Okay.
because we are like consumed in the moment. And so we are like giving now to them to a fault in the name of martyrdom, you know, like oh, I'm doing this because I'm super mom, I'm super, you know, we don't think that, but we think like, I'll do anything for my kids come first. And you know, and then there are things along the way, oh my goodness, that you don't see until later, like, oh, I should have watched that, I should have done this, I should have, for self, not because you're being selfish, not because you needed me time. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about how did you invest in yourself while your kids were growing, so that the future mom could be just as great as, you know, the mom that you are currently, just as, because they're going to need a different mom. They're going to need, you know, you have to evolve. They evolve and they grow, and you can't remain the same. So I think that I was selfish in my perspective. I was selfish in my closed-mindedness. I was selfish in the way I viewed a world with my kids. I, you know, in the name of love, because I loved them and I wanted the best for them and I wanted everything for them. But I think that, you know, those are things that I would have, you know, changed as they were growing up, that I would have invested more time in myself, not out of selfishness, but out of understanding that, you know, this mom needs to be there for the long run. And anyway, I don't know if that's making any sense. I'm just trying to, like, in my head.
It is. And yeah, it is. And I'm actually thinking like, you were, it's selfishness, but it's almost like selfish for the things around you. Like, it wasn't for you personally. You weren't selfish, but you were selfish because I think you use selfishness in a different way. Because I know, you know, from just talking to you, I know that you've had a time with your daughters that maybe a lot of moms haven't had. Like, you were selfish with the time that you had with them. I think if I had to kind of pinpoint something, like, you were selfish, like, no, I want to have, you know, I want to be able to teach them. I want to be able to teach them a Bible. I want to be able to homeschool them. I want to be able to be present for whatever. So I think that like you were selfish in that sense of like, okay, around your surroundings, like, no, I want this. I want to be a certain mom for them during this time. Would you agree? Like,
yeah. And you know, hindsight is 2020. I don't think any mom looks back and goes, I did that perfectly.
Right.
That was all. No, you start looking at all of these things, like, I shoulda, I woulda, I coulda, and you second guess yourself at every turn. But I think I I think I was, yeah, there are things that we can be selfish about that we don't even realize we're being selfish about,
Right.
because you need to, I think I was, yes, very, very selfish with my time. My time belonged to them, and I was focused on how they looked and how they would perceive mom at
Right.
that time. And
Yeah.
if I think I would have been easier on myself, or given me some freedom to understand that they're going to need a different, just in my perspective, just in my
Right.
my
No.
overall thing. But we equate selfishness like with things. Like for me, like there was, it's for me when I started off the conversation and I said like buying earrings, like why does that make me selfish? Like men
Yes.
have no problem with that. They want
Right.
shoes or a jacket or whatever, they get it. They don't think like that selfish, and we might say, well, that's a selfish man, but why?
But I love what you said, that you did it in the name of love. Like you did it because, like, whatever it is that you did, what you did it because you loved your daughter. So you almost like, you didn't go for the back, 20 years ago, you didn't go for the earrings, you didn't go for the material stuff, because you were doing it for a different type of, for a different, it was a different goal. Like,
Yeah.
there was a different goal. That's ultimately, and when,
Yeah,
and
I would
ahead.
rather spend on toys or on, moments for them, which is, it's a good thing.
Yes.
I think that it's just understanding that they're not going to be that age forever, and investing in you as a woman, as their mother, who they will need in the future. How does that, who you are becoming, is that
Right.
something that is going to nourish them as well? Because your kids will need you all of your life, not
Right.
just this little cute season where they're cute and cuddly and they think you're awesome and they want to be your shadow. There are moments where you can say, I hate you, mom. And then there are going to be moments when, the relationship changes as they get to be adults. So to be a good mom in all of those seasons, what does that look like for you? What is it that you need to be becoming as well, instead of this, self involved or very nourishing mom? But that has to change over time, and that's only going to change as you grow and evolve and are investing in yourself and in good things. And because then they look at that and they see that you as a whole, healthy, strong, confident woman is something that they will need when they are adults, but if you've gotten all your affirmation and confidence from them just loving you, from them just cuddling, mom is the best, when they're little. So that's where you get your satisfaction, your identity. Then as they get older and their mentality changes, you may not be number one for a season, or they might say, I remember having a walk with Gianna. She was maybe 10 years old, at the beach. And I took her on the beach and we just went for a walk. And I said, Gianna, I just want to tell, oh my God, I'm going to cry. I said, Gianna, I want to tell you that one day you will say, I hate you, mom. And you're going to be so angry with me. And it doesn't matter what you say. And it doesn't matter what you do. I want you to know that I will always love you. You're my baby girl. And no matter what you go through, mom is here. Mom loves you.
Yeah.
So as I'm saying this to I think a 10-year-old at the time. I'm trying to think how old she was, about 10. And she was looking at me with such just horror in her face. And she says, Mom, I would never say those words to you. I would never say that I hate you. I would never say anything mean to you, Mom. I love you. And, with this tender, beautiful innocence. And I said, I know, sweetheart, but I'm talking about later, honey. You might feel differently, but I just want you to know that I love you very much. And my love for you will never change no matter what you do. And so you can say and do, you can say anything to me, and you can there are certain things you're going to do that I want you to be able to share with me, because my love for you will never change. So fast forward 2 years later.
Oh goodness.
She gets her period. She gets her hormones change. Oh my goodness, I think every 5 minutes was just a rant of emotion, and you hate me, and I can't believe you, mom, and I hate you, slamming of doors and all of that. And I am so thankful for the talk, beforehand, the understanding that I had that she is going to change and evolve, because their brain changes and their body changes and everything changes, and their perspective of you changes. So as adults, I'm looking at my daughter's eyes now. I'm looking at my daughter's their affirmation for me is different now. I'm taking advice from them. I'm seeking counsel from them. They're wise women now. And so at this point, I'm like, okay, how, there's a shift. And how can I be, even though I feel like they're, which I want them to be at a higher level. I want them to be at a level where they're getting more opportunities. They're going to fly high. And I want that for them. But how am I the mom that they need in this place?
Right.
Because I can't be here and be the mom that they need here. My mentality can't be here, because then they can't share things with me. They can't, there's certain things that they'll never communicate with me, or they'll never seek me out for, because I'm here and they're here. Right. So I need to be evolving, and that doesn't automatically happen when they get to be adults and you're like, okay, I better change. I better become. No, like that has to be happening every day as their babies, as their toddlers, as their children. You have to be growing and investing in yourself, so that there's this thing where you're alongside of them, even if you're a little bit behind them. What you want your ceiling to be their floor, you want like that. And so, but the thing is, how high is your ceiling? So I think that it's important for us to understand that sometimes the things that we think we're being selfish about, or the things we're being selfless about, we're really being selfish about.
Oh, right.
Like the Mexican mamas that are like, ay, pero para mi hijito, and everything is like, but are you? There's this great divide between my mom and I right now. And I'm just being really honest, because she stayed at a certain level in her life. And, and because of that, I love her. I appreciate her, but I couldn't talk to her as a woman, or I couldn't talk to her as a mentor. I can't get what I need from her in this stage, in this season in my life. And it is a very sad thing. It is it hurts. It is with great pain that I say that, but that's the truth. And so I don't want that for my daughters. I want to be able to go at least to where they can reach out, look beside them and say, okay, mom is in this vicinity where I can talk to her. I can reach out to her. And so anyway, wow.
No, that's good. I love that. I love that, because I'm in a different season. Like, I have a 7-year-old, and I'm an older mom. So I was very selfish in my teens and my 20s, very, very selfish with myself, because I had, I didn't have any other responsibilities. So
must be nice.
But let me tell you that it was a shift too, because I was used to buying the $300 purses. I was used to getting my hair done every 6 weeks and my nails and all that. And then I had a child, and not only did I not have time, then the finances all went to buying Pampers and buying everything else. And then I became a stay-at-home mom. So it was like, okay, so I haven't dyed my hair in 11 years, Jill. Okay.
That's bad.
I don't need to, not yet. So anyhow, but so I'm in a different season than you are, you know, because like I said, my daughter is 7, and so I'm not, yeah, I don't want to be selfish because I was selfish for such a long time. Like, I don't like right now, I want to be selfless. Like, I want to be able to, you know, like I joke with my husband because I'm like, hey, weren't we supposed to get you some new boots for during Black Friday? And he's like, and then Miranda's like, no, but you probably got my gift. And we're both looking at her like, yeah, we did. You know, here we are 7 years later, still like the focus is on raising this child, you know, raising her and being there and doing all of this. So I'm not being as selfish with myself as I used to be, but I used to be very selfish. And it was hard to break away from when I was used to buying, again, everything for myself only. And then to like shopping at Walmart because that's just, you know, that's where I get the Pampers, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's there's two different perspectives, but yeah, we can be selfish, but it's more like like you said, I love that you said that it's out of love. It's out of like, you know, we want to do it for our children. We want to do it and not have regrets. That was my main thing. I never wanted to have regrets. So on that note, like, do you have regrets? Like, what is like the worst mom moment that you've ever had?
God, I have so many. The worst mom moment. Oh my gosh. I think I am a perfectionist in a lot of ways. With myself and in certain things like I'm or in the things that that you know, I did for the church or for ministry or for work or for, you know, for them in school, like, you know, when we homeschooled, when we did things together, activities together. I think I would have loved to be less harsh. Like, I was very militant with them. I was fun, and we had a lot of experiences, but I was very stern. I was very firm, and I demanded perfection and excellence at a time where it didn't even matter. It didn't even matter. And I think that I look back at that. I look back at that and I wish I would have said, Gio, just let it go. Just, it's okay. And, but they, thankfully, I had kids that were very forgiving and very obedient. They did not rebel. Now some kids I had another personality or another, you know, they could easily rebel in such an atmosphere and they just obeyed and they were good. But now I can see those traits in them where they're really hard on themselves when they don't need to be. They stress out about things that they shouldn't stress out about. But I can see where the seeds were planted when they were little. You know, I remember doing a play, a skit. I was just recording it with my camera. I think they were 3 and 4, and they couldn't get their lines right. Like, I was telling them they had to memorize a certain scripture. And Star kept fumbling over a line, and she would say it and with all joy and everything. And I would put the camera down and be like, didn't you see that? You messed up. You got to do it again. So her face, her countenance would change, and she would do it again. You know, she would do it again because she wanted to please mom. But it was like these moments of, those are vivid pictures. There are times when Trinity would, you know, plays that I would do at church, she would memorize these big lines, and she was only like 5. And then I think one time, this is my biggest regret with Trinity. Every time I think of this moment, I bawl. But it was she said her big line on stage. Wonderful. Lights went out. And when the lights were going out, she saw her grandma in the audience.
Mm-hmm.
So she turns to me as she's going backstage. Mom, grandma's here. And I look at her like with such a mean face, and I cover her mouth and I tell her, you do not speak, you do not say anything because we're on stage. Like, you need to.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But she was just 5 and she was just excited to see grandma, and it was cute. And I was so serious. I was so strict in that moment. I can see it. I see her eyes like change from, she was so excited her grandma was there, to fear, to like, oh shoot, I messed up, mom, and mom's upset. And it was that moment that I will see it probably till the day I die, that I can never take back it, because it's this moment of harshness when you could be soft, a moment where I could just, and so, and granted, we have a lot of parenting styles that are so soft all the time. So I hate saying these, you need to be soft. The kids now, they could literally step on dad's face and he'll be like, well, he didn't mean it, or she didn't mean it. And they just, they're super soft with their kids. That's an extreme like that. I'm not talking about being a doormat. I'm talking about, letting spilled milk be spilled milk. It's okay.
Yes.
I had the greatest speech that I ever heard from a man who had 4-stage cancer. He said, one of the things I will always love is that I put my nieces and nephews before my things. He went and got a nice sports car, and he went and picked up his niece and nephew, and the sister was saying, please be careful with Uncle Andy's car. Do not mess it up. Do not and one of the kids, the nephew, had a cold. She goes, you better not sneeze. You better not throw up in the car. She was just like harping on the kids. Do not mess up Uncle Andy's car. So he went and he grabbed his soda and he just dumped it all in the back seat.
Oh, goodness.
You don't have to worry about messing up my car. It's already messed up. Nothing you can do to this car. You're fine.
Yeah.
And that is just the understanding that how to value people, value moments, value the lessons, than perfection, than things. And anyway, so we're going deep, Myra. I thought this was a fun night. You're making me.
It is fun. Sometimes we have to, this is like mom, being a mom it's a fun thing. It's such a blessing. It's such a blessing. And we're blessed to be moms, and we're blessed to be able to have these beautiful girls that the Lord has blessed us with and given us to instruct and to guide. But there's, like you just said, there has to be like that, just yesterday, my daughter fell at school and she scuffed her knee, and they called me from the nurse's office and then she's like, and her pant tore. And I'm like, is it bad? I asked the nurse, and she's like, well, it just looks like kind of like how the kids wear their pants right now. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's fine. Right. So then she gets, she gets on the phone and she's like, I fell and I'm sorry. And I'm, she thought I was going to be upset. Right. Cause I'm pretty stern too. I'm pretty rigid in certain things. But then when she got in the truck at the end of the day, and I said, let me see your pant. And I'm like, oh my goodness, it was like a big hole like that big. And I'm like, okay. And she's like, are you mad? And I'm like, no. And she's like, but look at what I did to my pants. And I'm like, they're just pants. And she's like, what are we going to do with them? I'm like, we're going to throw them away. Cause who wants ripped pants? And she's like, oh, but she like this phase, like the one you're saying, like, kind of like, I didn't want to disappoint you. Are you mad at me? And I made it. And I said, it's just material stuff. Don't worry. How's your knee? How do you feel? So yeah, it's moments. It's sometimes, and we have to be very intentional. I think as moms, we get so, so busy, and I kind of planned that in my head the entire day, like, okay, I can't be so, I'm not gonna be upset about pants. I'm not gonna be upset. Yes, I was, she scuffed her knee pretty bad, but then I laughed about it, and I'm like, well, now we own, a piece of land at your school, but yeah, it's being intentional with our moments. It's being intentional with our words when it comes to certain things like that. And there's no way to like regret proof for the future. I think, like you said, there's things that in my daughter's short life, I have things that I regret too, that I'm like, oh, I can't believe I did that. I can't believe I said that. But then we make up. And I think that, I think even the parenting styles that I think we do it out of love. I know I do. I do it out of love. I do it out of like with my daughter, I'm like, don't put towels on the floor. Like, that's just my thing. And I think I'm like, in 20 years, I don't want her to put towels on the floor, because that, like, I want her to pick up after herself. So yes, we're rigid, but we're doing it out of love, and because we want to instruct and guide, and have a young woman that's going to be picking, that's just me with towels. But anyway, my husband doesn't care, and I'm like, no, but they don't belong on the floor. so yeah, it's certain things. It's like the towels of the, in life, it's like the pants in life that are going to get torn. Okay, so how are we going to react? And be very intentional with how we address certain things. So yeah.
And understanding that often those things that we think are big things are really not that big of a deal. But I remember and at the end of the day, they're going to grow up and be who they are. And you have to give them that freedom to, I am more chill now as I see them and kind of, evolve into their own, like, just individual, their own, their personalities and all that. And Gianna is very, she's just her own person. And I love that. And one of the things that for me to this day, I'm like, you do not go to bed in the clothes that you wore all day. Like, you have your nightgown, you have your, I would call it a vata, nightgown. And I would say you have got to put that on, and then, brush your teeth or whatever, get ready for bed. That was just a ritual. Well, as soon as she left our home, she said, that's one ritual. She's like, Mom, I am falling asleep in my jeans and there's nothing you can do about it. And I'd be like, disgusting. Well, she came over for, almost 10 days to stay with us. And I'd be like, you need to put on Mom, are you kidding me? I'm like, God was giving me 25. You can't tell me to put on my. But the thing is, when I've heard her watch and take care of other kids, she would use the ritual that I did, like, put on your vata, let's brush your teeth, let's get you ready, And when I hear them do that, I understand, like, okay, they know that was like nurturing, like that's a loving act. And now, what they do is up to them. But that was the vata. I'm a vata girl.
Yes. So am I.
I can't. I don't understand. It was. I don't know. I just don't understand people who don't change.
Yeah, and my mom was. She was a person that, like, you have to take a bath before you go to bed. Like, you have to. Like, that was her. And so I was Gianna. As soon as I was out of the house, I'm like, shoot, I'm taking a bath in the morning. I'm not gonna take a bath like that, and it was just something that, and with Miranda, with my daughter, like, she takes a bath at night. So same thing, we do. It's
stuck in a different way. Yeah.
Yes. And of course she doesn't want to, but I did give her a choice. So that was it. That was the difference that I made. Like, okay, when do you want to take a bath? In the morning when you wake up, or at night?
You want to take a bath tonight or in 30 minutes?
Right.
Right and now or tonight?
And she says, no, I want to take a bath at night. I'm like, okay. So I did, I encouraged her to do that, but then I also gave her a choice, and she chose that. And so in the morning, she does not want to like that doesn't make sense to her right now. It doesn't make sense to take a bath in the morning, because then you wake up and you don't want to. And so yeah, but totally see that whole scenario happening in my situation. But so we'll see when she leaves and she's like, I'm taking a bath in the morning. I don't want to do that anymore.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
So okay, so let's talk about just words of wisdom, like as moms. Like what is the best kind of a word of wisdom that was given to you, or maybe one that you want to give out? Like what has just a great word that came from like maybe an unlikely source, someone that you didn't even know was gonna impact you, like anything going on with that right now, or recently, or when you were a mom with little girls?
Yeah. So one of the things you don't realize is who you are raising. I value my daughter's opinion now more than ever, their wisdom, their advice, I listen to that greatly, because oh my goodness, they have the wisdom of God. But when they were Trinity, we used to call her Dr. Phil. At 3 years of age, she would say the most profound, the most wise thing, and she would end fights, and she would end discord in our home.
Wow.
Just the things that she would say, like I always thought she should be this psychologist, because she is very intuitive, and she's very aware of people's feelings and emotions. And I just remember all her growing up in her childhood, just kind of speaking like just this wisdom beyond her years. She still does that to this day and speaks into my life. But one time, when I first started Unraveled, all she did was serve. She would make sure the table was clean, everything was ready, the food was ready, and she would serve. If someone needed coffee, she would get up, give them coffee. She wouldn't say a word. She would sit there and listen. So for about 2 years, she smiled, she greeted people, she served. And then we did a getaway, and it was 6 women. We were having a discussion, and she's sitting there, and this woman is broken, distraught. And all of a sudden, Trinity just opens her mouth and how old was she? I want to say Trinity was probably 17. And
Wow.
and all the women are just looking at her, and the person she was speaking to was just, her mouth was wide open, and she starts weeping, like, that's God. And she's just like, I would never, like, it meant a lot to her that it was Trinity, because she had seen her faithfulness and her quiet spirit. And then, so I know that God will use her in that prophetic, in that wise way. But yeah, sometimes it comes from people you don't expect. Just know that a lot of times it'll come from your own children. Your children will call you out. They're the ones that know you the most in a lot of ways. They see the good, the bad, and the ugly. The bad that you don't show other people, the all of the stuff that you say that you don't think they hear, they're listening to it, So that is, and that they can love you in spite of all of that, and then they can speak truth into your life is pretty awesome. So that is an unexpected source. And there have been other people throughout my life, some that don't even know God, but all of a sudden it's like we say God can use an ass, in the word of God, like, how that donkey saved Balaam's life, and spoke, and but he also put the word of God in Balaam, a wicked, evil man. God put his word in this man's mouth to speak blessing over his people. So God can use anyone in an unexpected way to speak into your life. So
yes. Yes, I agree. There's sometimes we don't we have to just stop and listen, because sometimes, especially I've always had older females around me, and I've always taken advice from, or just words from women that are much older. But there has been a few times where when the kids, just the young people, there's a young woman that I help and that I love very much, and she speaks so much wisdom, and I'm just like, oh, why wasn't I that smart when I was her age? Like, why wasn't I thinking those things? So yeah, it's sometimes it's from unlikely people, but it all, I think it's also, you have to be, it's just a God-given gift, like Trinity, like it's just God-given gift. It's something that has already been placed inside of you, has already been, it's like, it's not something that you can always acquire, but it's something that you can ask for it. Like the word of God says, ask for wisdom, ask, and you will receive. But to give out at 17 years old, that's amazing.
Yeah.
To an older woman, that's completely, I don't know how old she was, but I'm just assuming she was older. And so yeah, that's pretty neat. That's pretty neat.
I'm eating lemon chips.
I was gonna ask you, what lemon
chips. They're nasty, sour, salty, and I'm enjoying them. But it's because these girls, they have so much junk food right now.
Yeah, and they like sour and salty stuff, right?
Yes, and I think I gained weight this 10 days Jonna was here, because I'm just glad my kids aren't heroin addicts, because I'll be right there. I was so influenced. They're like, come here, eat this, mom. Okay. Drink this, mom. Okay. Watch this, mom. Okay. I'm like, I'm glad you guys don't smoke pot, because I would be right here. Okay. No, I'm kidding. Like, but it's just, I'm so easily was so easily influenced by my kids, by the people that I just like ate and ate and ate. And okay, I gotta stop.
On that note, what has been a lesson that you have had to repeat because you didn't learn it the first time, like with the chips?
Oh my gosh. What? What lesson have I had to repeat? I call it take another lap. Take another lap. It's a sermon I heard many, many years ago. Of course, teaching Exodus, teaching about the Israelites. It's very relevant. They didn't believe, so God said, okay, you're going to die in the wilderness. There are things that you don't want to learn. Okay, you're going to have to take another lap. You're not going to go to the promised land. Take another lap. Take another lap. So, oh my gosh. My heart is just heavy today. I'm trying to, okay. So, for me, a lesson that fighting God for things I don't even want.
Ooh.
Instead of taking what he wants to give me that I need. Like, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous how stubborn I am. I don't even want the thing, and I'm fighting God for it. And he's like, okay, when are you going to get your claws off of it? Let me because I have something better for you. I have something, and you actually need this. And so the want, the need, the fighting, the grappling with God at every turn, like, there are things that of course are easier. But I think if we're honest with ourselves and we're honest with each other as women, we can say, you know what? Yes, I'm further along, or you think that I'm further along spiritually, or I'm getting to do these things, but it doesn't mean that I don't have these tantrums. I don't have these 2-year-old tantrums, toddler tantrums, fighting with God in certain things in my life. And so for me, I think that letting go, letting go and just like, whoo, just release. And there are things that are easier than others, but
Right.
just this to say, okay, like I don't know what's around the corner, but I know that you're here and you're there and you've already been around the corner. You already, and it's like, let go of this so I can get you over here, but you don't want to let go of this so I can't get you over here. And just understanding that process has been at a like a, because I have fought him throughout my life for things, but this year it just got magnified. And I think it was important for me to see, like, because now, this is magnified. Now you can see that I've been dealing with your heart all along. I need you to trust me, and you need to see how bad you are at this. You need to see how bad you are at fighting me and throwing tantrums, and how bad you are at still being stubborn. You need to see this at a grand level so that you can understand that I am still, that you've got a long way to go. And that has been something that this year, man, it just has been magnified. It has been like he's showing me things in my heart, things in my mind. Oh my goodness, he's just really taking me to a different place. But man, there's skid marks all along the way. Yes. Man, I'm like, I don't want to go. I don't want to go place. Like, let me stay in this moment, in this. I don't know if I want to. And then the minute he's like, okay, no, I do want to, help me want to, like he's going to lay off of it. But it's this wrestling and the grappling of the heart, the understanding the fighting that we do. So obedience and trust are they're challenging at any level. And it's supposed to get easier the more you walk, and it does. It is easier, but then the obedience or the steps that he's asking you to take are harder and bigger. So as you're learning, like, the challenges become even greater. And so it's like, okay, now you've got this big challenge before you. I want to see, just kind of like a baby, come on, just take those steps. Come on, I'm waiting for you right here. And I don't want to let go of that table that's keeping me up. Like, I don't want to let go of that and take those 2 steps to the Father, knowing that even if I fall, he's going to pick me up. Like, I know these things, but I'm so just a lot of insecurities right now. And yeah, so lessons I haven't learned would be the letting go. I don't know. There's a lot there, but understanding that God always has something better. Yes. That his ways are higher, that he wants to take me deeper and further. And there are some people that I can't take with me, no matter how badly I want to. There are some things that I can't take with me. There are places, there are, oh my gosh, it's a shedding, but not that you're going to be stripped away from it. He covers us, and his covering is so much better. But just not, I don't know if it's fear. It's more like, I don't know if I want to go. It's just fighting.
I think it's comfort sometimes, like, and change is hard. Like, life changes are hard. Life events, even good ones, are hard, much less hard ones and horrible ones. So trusting God with the unknown, trusting God, and and allowing him to do all that. It's sometimes it's harder, or it's easier said than done. It's one of those things that it's easier said than done. I always remember I have a person that always reminds me of this, and especially when I'm going through that type of moment, that there's a visual of Jesus. I don't know if you ever seen it. There's a visual of Jesus, and he's in front of this little girl, and she's got a little teddy bear.
That darn teddy bear. Yes.
And she's holding on to that teddy bear, and then Jesus has his hands behind his back, and he's got like a bigger teddy bear. But she's like, and her face is like, no, but I don't want to let go of it. And he's like, but and you can tell in the picture, it's like he has something bigger. He has something better. We don't see it. And it's sad to say, but maybe to a certain extent we might not even trust that that's going to happen, because mainly because it's not on our time. It's not on our on our agenda, on our process. Like, okay, I want it to be like this. Just like when people say, I want to be married by 20, I want to have, or 25, I want to have my first child. Like, you plan, right? And God laughs. That's what people say. You plan and God laughs, because he has a better plan. He has, and we are the ones that walk in disobedience, just like what you were saying earlier, just like when God said, okay, no, you haven't learned, another lap around, right? With the Israelites, you're going to take another lap. You take another lap. And I think I learned that from you. I remember you mentioned that to me. And when I heard it, I'm like, yikes, I don't want to do any more laps. I don't even like running, like, I don't want to, like, but really what it meant is like, I don't want to be disobedient anymore. Yeah. Like that hurts God more than anything, that I'm being disobedient. So what do we do when we fall into disobedience, and when we don't trust him? Like, when you get into that difficult time, what do you find yourself resorting to? Like, what is kind of like I call it like a default setting. You go back to a default food.
It's right here, baby. Oh,
a default. Yes, it's like a default setting. Like, okay, this is my comfort. Going back to comfort.
Eat chips and die.
Comfort. Yeah, so I've seen that. It's that comfort. It's like we don't want to leave that teddy bear. We don't want to let go of that teddy bear that that we would love, that we and but we don't know what's ahead. We don't know what's ahead. And we resort to, food is one thing, shopping sometimes, shopping. I mean, what else do you find women resort to when they're the ones that are walking in disobedience and not trusting God?
I think it's real easy to turn to people that will agree with us, to turn to people that will tell us, oh, you're fine. Go ahead. Eat those chips, girl. You deserve it. Buy that bag, girl. You deserve it. Yeah. I think that
That's
God has told me, do not, now I'm waiting. I wait a few days or so when my automatic reaction is to call someone or to reach out to someone. I'm like, wait, like, go to him first, cry out to him first. And then before you resort to a person, because it's almost like this selfish thing. If we want this person just to tell us we're okay, we're right, we're, and that's not what we need. Maybe God is trying to discipline us. He's trying to show us something. He's trying to deal with our hearts. And we enable in the name of, oh, I feel sorry for my friend, because you love them. So what are you going to say? You're going to say, no, Gio, like, you are resorting to food. That's a bad habit. Yeah. Your shopping is selfish. It doesn't do anybody any good. That money could be used elsewhere. Why do you do that? You're only going to get in further debt. You're only, these things, that's the reality. That's the truth. but we don't
Yes.
want to hear the truth. That's why we go to certain people that are just going to tell us what we want. When you were saying the thing about the teddy bear, though, the Spirit of God said, oh my gosh, what if you have to be able to obey and trust, even if there's no other blessing, even if there is not, because you know what God has done for us on the cross, what he has done for us thus far, it's enough. It's enough. He says, suffer like I have suffered, carry your cross. So I think it's very, in our American Christianity, that teddy bear picture, that helps us feel better. That, I mean, I always think like, okay, God, you're removing this a person or this situation, but you're gonna have something better. Like, am I fooling myself by saying that? Am I just believing what I want to believe, or is God really, because he doesn't owe me anything.
Right.
He doesn't have to do that. He is enough. He is what is better. Jesus is better.
Right.
So it doesn't matter if there is no teddy bear, if there's no other thing behind that, if there's absolutely nothing better on the other side. Like, Jesus is the better. And that's it. You don't need another reason to obey and to trust 100%.
Yeah. And sometimes that teddy bear, at least, I think of, that's a visual for me, but sometimes I do, like that teddy bear, to me, it signifies peace. It doesn't signify like a material thing. It sometimes it's just peace. It's just like no drama. Like, I don't here, take it, because I don't want the drama. I don't want, and that has even been with like positions, like job opportunities, job position. No. I don't need that. I want my peace. That's what's behind,
more valuable.
That's more valuable. Yeah.
But he is a king. He is a Prince of Peace. He is all of those things.
Yep.
All of those things we need and desire. He is all of it.
Yes.
And so it's in that place where I let go and fall into him and say, come what may. It might not be, it might be something even worse. There might be another, maybe this situation is preparing me for something even bigger, more challenging. It's not about things getting better in my life. It's about my heart changing, my heart transforming into what he wants. And maybe the only way that my stubborn heart can submit to God and surrender to God the way he desires is through suffering, is through heartache, it's through pain. And this is the only way I'm going to be transformed in his image, because of my stubbornness, because of things in my heart that need a change.
Yes.
So it's a very it's a harsh revelation, but I have to come to that place where, okay, Gio, this is not a fairy tale. This is not Hollywood. I think there's a song that, this is not Hollywood. This is the journey of sanctification, the journey of following Jesus.
That's good.
And what does that look like? And what should it look like, and why? And the bottom line is that he gets the glory. My life is painting a picture of his son. And I feel like this year I'm just like messing that picture up. Like there's graffiti on it. Like I need to go back and be like, okay, God, I'm sorry. Like, show me. I want to walk this out with dignity and grace. I want to go through this situation in my life. I want to go through it in a way that makes you be glorified, that you are glorified, that you are that you're spoken about in a great way because of what I endured, because of what I had to go through. So those are the things that I'm grappling with. Yeah. And there may be no teddy bear at the end of that. I think that's what there may be, no reward, because that
Mhm.
he doesn't owe me anything.
No.
That's not what this is about. There may be no added blessing other than, okay, your heart is becoming more like the way I want your heart to be.
Right.
You're being transformed, and that's what I desire. And the fact that he gets what he desires from me, that should be enough pleasure, that I am pleasuring my king, that I am pleasuring my father, that I am pleasing him. That should be enough.
Right.
And yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. It doesn't have to be a material thing. But we just, just like we started this conversation about being selfish, like our mind goes there. It's just like I don't know if it's an American thing or like a self-centered thing. I don't know, but our mind
All
goes
of
there
those
as far
things.
as like it's like it has to be materialistic, and when we come to a place of understanding that it's not about the material stuff, like we're not building, I the other day I said something, and it was like, we build our kingdom, the kingdom that we want here, on this earth, sometimes with that stuff. And that's where the selfishness comes. Like, well, I want to have, like, I know a couple that they want to have things. They want to have a boat. They want to have a ranch. They want to have a beach house. And those things bring them pleasure. But where's their spiritual life? It's lagging. It's not there. And so, yeah, we are our American culture. We just kind of go there, like our mind goes there. But you're right. It's not about that. It's just, are we really the image of God? Are we being transformed? Are we being, one thing that I'm teaching my daughter is, like, are you doing the best that you can? Like, if you got an 85 in the spelling test and that's the best that you can do, then okay, I'm not gonna be, yes, I would like a 90, I would like 100, but if 85 is the best that you could do, then okay, then that's what I'll take. And God is just as graceful with us. It's just us that we put that pressure, and that we don't know how good it can be if we just walk in obedience, trust him, and allow him to do what he needs to do in us. Yeah. So good topic. Anything else that you or just any words of wisdom that you want to share?
I have a wedding to go to tomorrow, and I was thinking about that because, just those of us who've been in marriage long enough to know, like, she's super excited. Like, she's so cute. They're so in love. They're so, oh my gosh, to understand that there's so much around the corner that they're going to have to face, all these things. It's almost like you want to tell them, like, oh my gosh, like, you don't know what you're in for. Are you sure? I don't want to mess up but they're so excited, and they've got this light in their eyes. And this little girl, Vicky, has been such a dear friend to my daughter, and she has saved herself for marriage. She is,
beautiful.
She has been with this young man for a few years, and he's like, the wedding's at 3 p.m. and he's like, okay, it's gonna be fast, you guys, then we're gonna have to go. And he's like, and Vicky's like, no, my friends. And she's so giddy, and he's just so frustrated, and just, but he's so patient and loving and kind, and they're both so beautiful to each other, and such a beautiful thing that's going to happen tomorrow, and we're going to witness just two people giving themselves selflessly. And just knowing, that that they're excited, and they're serving each other already, the way they're serving each other, and the way, they're honoring God through this. It's just such a beautiful thing to see. And for those that are struggling in our marriage, those that have gone through a failed marriage, those that have gone through pain in their marriage, And to see this, it is an understanding that, okay, no matter what has happened in your relationship, in your marriage, there was a point of innocence and beauty and love that was always intended. Like that's what the Father intended. The things that came at that relationship, that was life, that's the world, the cares of this world, and the enemy and other people that love to throw rocks at shiny things. So you've got all of these factors. Like I just want to bathe them, and they did bathe them in prayer, but they had a prayer meeting last night for God's protection around them,
Wow,
because
that's beautiful.
that what's going to happen is now things are going to come at them now, their relationship is beautiful, innocent, intact, and now Satan hates that. And now, a preacher said the other day on the radio, I am a wanted man. Like he wants me dead. Like he's after me. He wants to kill me. So every day I have to be about doing God's business because he's after me. But I'm a wanted man. So I have to live like today's my last day to preach the gospel, to live a godly life, to live as someone with passion for Christ. So anyway, I just wanted to say that because some of you may be discouraged in your marital relationships and your, and you may, it is so easy for us to look at someone at the beginning stages of that, or, in the middle of a beautiful relationship and want to just be like, be ugly about it or cast doubt on it. Or no. Like there is beauty in that. God desires for man and woman to live a life that is pleasing to the Lord together, like to accomplish the mission of God together. Like it was not good for man to be alone. Like that was established. That's the picture of Christ. That's the picture of Christ in the church. That's the picture of the gospel. So do not allow for whatever's happening in your marriage to give you bitterness or to cast bitterness to others as well. So yeah.
Like that. It's good. Okay, Gio. Well, that was good today.
We talked a lot.
I know. I think there was some really good nuggets there. I think that if someone is watching that is maybe, just in between seasons, between your season and my season and motherhood, or in their spiritual walk as well, I think they'll get a lot of just really good, just a lot of wisdom, because it's two perspectives that, but ultimately it's God's wisdom is the best, right? And we can trust him, and and it's just learning how to do that and not second guessing ourselves, because when we do that, then we take another lap. We don't want to take another lap.
Right. We said a lot, and it's a process of getting unraveled. It's there's no script here. There's no agenda. It's just kind of going at it and kind of just getting unraveled in some areas. And hopefully, something here was helpful. Something here spoke to your spirit, and God showed you, because it might not be even the exact words we said, but something we said triggered Holy Spirit in you that led you to understand something or gave you revelation about something, which is always good. Talking together like this is good. There's a bunch of girls right inside the house, just dancing away and giggling and laughing. And so that's what I have to face right now. Girls that are going to be dancing.
Well, you are not going to go to bed anytime soon. That's a lot. No more chips.
No more chips. I'm going to take a walk by the river tomorrow. So I'll be walking the Guadalupe River in the morning.
Nice. Okay, Gio. Good talk tonight. We will talk again next week.
Love you guys.
Bye.
See you at the table.
At the table. Bye-bye.
Bye.